So the market opened 9:31, and like yesterday's prediction, 17 to 421 range. It's opening at around here, the pivot. And yesterday pivot was a little bit different than this pivot because um, the video was before the market closed, and pivot is the high, low, and then the close divided by 3. So it was moving around a little bit, so I make it a little bit thicker on the charts, but it's right there, um, and slightly above. So this also suggests to me that the sentiment is stronger, but this morning had a little bit of a fear element with Chinese, 5 big Chinese companies that altogether $2.4 trillion. They are voluntarily delisting themselves from the New York Stock Exchange or American Exchange, wherever they're listed in. It's like a gas company mostly and a telecommunication. And to put that amount into perspective, this run here is $11 billion, which brought up around $15 um, from the SPY. That's 11 billion. So about 20 times that is the companies that are delisting from China, and it's highly likely. But also another news was the Mexican, I guess, government is trying to be the exporter of the liquefied natural gas (LNG), and the amount of shales they have, they could be the biggest, one of the biggest, like fourth biggest exporter in the world. Something to look out for, and I am very bullish on the natural gas, especially EQT and LNG itself, the ticker LNG, and the ETF FCG. They're probably, in my opinion, 5 to 10 year hold and DCA into it. Wrapping up, so the closing point today, August 12th, Friday, will be here by the yellow arrow, because it's trading along the trend line since the beginning, and pivot point is high, low, close divided by 3. It's a slightly different, and I have it very thick for that reason, because it's not a point, it's more like a range, a slight range, because sometimes you have to count in the open price and divide that by 4. Yeah, but anyway, we opened close to the prediction, and also for the prediction, the consumer confidence came out higher, by the Michigan University interviews of random people from random income quintiles. I guess not random, I think selected. So what that means is that when it's higher, usually they have more spending power now to circulate the economy better. So it's usually a good news for both currency and the market. So when it first came out, the currency popped, so it kind of like dropped a little bit, I guess. I mean, I don't know if it happens real time, but there's a likelihood that some people went to go buy bonds and some people went to the market, or maybe it was automated, I'm not sure. But anyway, the general consensus today was to go up, and it did, and generally just follow the trend line, other than in the middle where there was a very big drop of interest here on the MACD. I use 8 minus 13 period over the 5 EMA, 5 period EMA, which to me responds the fastest for the divergence. And somebody said this is the Fibonacci number, so you want to keep it that way. I don't know how much of that matters, but I would like to keep it this way. And there was a big divergence. Divergence is the interest, momentum interest. So when the price goes up and the interest goes down, usually that means that people aren't interested in it anymore, and then the price drops. They start selling it. But this is a lunchtime basically, so it's understandable, and it kind of looked like algos were trading, the high frequency algos. Is the way that works is that the line gets generated automatically. Like when you look at some websites like Finviz, they have the patterns or like trend lines drawn automatically. That type of AI, people trade. People put in the algos. People do algo tradings. They could just, hit orders, program the orders to whenever it hits the trend line, they buy. And when it's like a channel here, a small channel is formed here. So if I'm drawing a trend line here, and then a channel, yeah, it's trading to the channel. So when it hits the line, it buys, and when it hits the top of the channel, then it sells. So it goes back and forth like that until the end. So it'll close within this range today, because general consensus was bullish after the consumer sentiment. But what's important about that is actually this is the Walmart call option that I bought, like I think around here or something. Yeah, and because when low and middle income quintiles circulate money, usually these wholesale places like Walmart, Target, Costco, or like CVS, they pop because now they could get rid of their inventory at their regular prices. They don't have to give discounts, so the earning expectation goes higher, so it's gonna pop from the result of the consumer confidence. Yeah, but then I still think, I initially thought that it would close around here, and if I have a banking theory, well, it doesn't really matter for today because it never happened, but it has to do with the reverse repo. But that was to hit here if that theory is true, and it used to be true when there was there wasn't the rate hike. That used to be true, but it somehow it's not really true anymore. But anyway, so I thought it would close around here, but apparently market overreacted, in my opinion, to the good news a lot. So what I think will open on Monday is actually we would retract. So let's measure this to see if that makes sense. So if we close around here, give some room, and go 50, and the pivot point here, I think we would actually open around here, which is 424.60 and 423.90. And also the max amount was like $4 from the open today. So open at 422, so 426 around, more or less, is the max amount implied by the implied volatility. Up or down, but today is obviously up, so that's how I set my levels. And look at this. This is like popping like crazy. Maybe it's a Friday buyout or something. Good for me. I mean, this is my trade for next week. The wholesale, like CVS. This is a Walmart, and I'm continuing to hold the what is this, EQT, the natural gas. And today was lithium was popping. I actually don't know why lithium was popping, but PLL was popping insanely, and some meme stocks, the Bed Bath and Beyond. I think this one is actually not gonna rug. I don't think. Even if it rugs, I think you'll see it. It's not gonna be like Luna or Squid Game. So relatively safe to hold, and upside is greater than the risk side. So I have this as well, but probably if it doesn't open like, I don't know, above 13 or whatever on Monday, I probably won't hold, because it seems like the interest is kind of cooling down, like as you can see here. So if that's continuing on Monday, I'm quickly out of this one. And there's the bell, and it closed right at the sell ALGO part of the channel. Okay, so it was just straight up type of day, and there's one way to recognize the direction of the trend. Earlier on, I talked about the Fibonacci strength yesterday, and the above 23, or if it bounces off of 23%, it means the trend is strong. And usually when that happens and the volume is low, it kind of creeps up to upside the whole day. It usually does that. So I think it's unless some news hits, traders don't really pay attention to it and let the algos run. That's just my guess, and this is just exactly how algos would trade, or even traders who are glued to the monitor, they would trade at this point using the channel, because the channel was established pretty earlier on, and it deviated a little bit. It's not even a deviation because it was still touching it. So yeah, it's just a matter of how much they're selling it or how much they're buying it at this level. Yeah, so you could follow this through the whole day until the very end. I think it's because, you know, last 5 minutes is always the most insane. And I bought in for the different reason, but it turns out that Walmart, it has an earning, so that's probably why it peaked at the last minute. And I don't think actually they're gonna do so well on this earning because of their over inventory for the last Q. I mean, for this Q, which concerns before the consumer confidence. So they didn't buy those yet. So I don't think the earnings will be that good. So I will probably leave before the earnings. So I will probably leave on Monday, I guess.